So I don't actually have a challenge for you today. I'm just going to be talking you through some different shot sizes and camera movements that are common in a lot of films.
Okay, so here we've got an example of an extra wide shot where our subject is quite far away in the background and you can see a lot of the environment that he's in. You could use this type of shot to show how small your subject is feeling, or to show things in the background that you might want to see to scale.
So I've put in this grid to demonstrate the rule of thirds, which is a sort of guideline that you should follow when you're trying to compose your shot, that things should sit nicely in between these squares, or on the vertical lines or on the horizontal lines. For instance, if you compose your shot with the bottom third as the ground and the top 2/3 as the sky, it will just look a little bit nicer than if it was somewhere in between that area.
So the wide shot is quite similar, but just a bit closer in. If you want to see your subject a little bit closer in, or if the things in the background aren't as important to show to scale as they would be if you were using an extra wide shot. So the full body shot is good if you're wanting to see everything that your subject is doing. So if the place they're walking on is important, then you want to see the feet walking on that surface, for instance. The mid shot is very, very common. So you can see, you're close enough to see the expression on the face, and you can see the actions the hands are making and everything that they're doing in the environment that they're in. The head and shoulders shot is a shot that is most often used in conversations. So you might have a few different wide shots beforehand, establishing where they are, and then you'll cut in to a head and shoulders shot of both characters back and forth talking in conversation. The close-up shot is used to emphasize expressions and emotions on the subject's face. If that subject is a person, if you're just doing a close-up shot of an object, this is to emphasize this object's importance in the detail of the film. But in this case, it is a face, so it would be this Lego man's expression that we would be wanting to emphasize. The extreme close-up is when you really want to get an impact of the emotion of what your character is feeling. For instance, if something has just scared them, you might want to cut into an extreme close-up to get the eyes widening in horror. So I've put in some angles here. So this is a high angle, and I just want to compare it to a bird's eye view angle here. And yeah, they're slightly different and emphasize different things. So cutting between a high angle and a lower angle is mostly used to emphasize an imbalance of power. And it can be used very comically, or used quite subtly to depending on what kind of movie you're making. But it's a very useful way to emphasize that. So what I want to talk about now is some camera movements. So first off, we've got panning. So panning is when your camera is stationary on top of the tripod, but you are moving it side to side with the pan handle. So that is opposed to crabbing. So crabbing on the camera is when you're still moving the camera side to side, but you're actually physically moving the camera from point A to point B, left or right, using a slider or a dolly or handheld or some sort of Steadicam. So next we have the tilt, which is similar to the pan in terms of the camera being stationary on the tripod head, but you're moving it with the pan handle again, but instead of moving it side to side, you're moving it up and down. So this is opposed to a pedestal shot, where you're actually physically moving the camera from A to B, but that is up and down as well. The other pair of shots that are very important is the zooming. So you probably all know what that means. When you're zooming in and zooming out, it's using the lens on the camera. So the camera is again staying where it is on the tripod, but you're zooming in using the lens, zooming in and out using the lens, as opposed to a tracking shot where the camera is moving from point A to point B with a slider or a dolly or some sort of Steadicam or just handheld again, but it is moving in and out this time. So you've got 3 different pairs of shots here, which are similar but different in the way that the camera is moving. So yeah, that's all I've got for you today.
So there's a lot of things that these different kinds of shots can be saying in various ways in certain films and certain circumstances that I haven't gone into. But I hope you get an idea of the ways in which these shots can be used creatively to tell your story the way you want it to be told.